going on, folks? Welcome to the bar. And I know what you're thinking. Yes, this is a long form video. I figure since it's the night before Christmas, why not give everyone a special Christmas treat and finally give everyone what they all want, a long form video. And today, we're going to be talking about my favorite Batman story to read during the holidays, Batman Noel. And if you're not familiar with this story, it's an adaptation of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, except this time, it's set in Gotham City. The artist and the writer of this book is Liber Maggio. And as we go through Noel, I'd like everyone to keep this thought in the back of their head, because for this story to make sense, you have to believe in anything. You have to believe in just something. And above all, you have to believe that people can change. So, pour yourself a drink, spark one up if you gotta, because it's about to get cold in Gotham City the night before Christmas. Now, let's open up the bar. Alright folks, welcome to the bar. So, Batman Noel, which in my opinion is the quintessential Batman story for the holidays, because this Batman story is most notably known for being based after Charles Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol. And let me tell you right now, the way that this story weaves Dickens' themes into the world of Gotham City is nothing short of brilliant. You could tell that the writer and artist Liber Maggio has a deep respect for Dickens' work, and as a result, he created a tale that is haunting, heartfelt, and just visually stunning. And without further ado, let's dust off the wall and talk about this entire comic. Alright, so Batman Noel starts off with a narrator whose identity that you'll discover later on in the story walking us through the setup. And the narrator introduces us to Bob Cratchit, or well, the Gotham City version of him. And Bob here is a small-time crook working for the Joker who's just trying to scrape by for the sake of his kid. But Batman, he's having absolutely none of it tonight. He's actually trailing Bob like a predator, looking to actually use him as bait to lure the Joker out. And I'll tell you right off the jump, this is not the Batman that you're used to. This Batman is colder than the fucking Gotham snow. He's bitter, relentless, and he's just downright cruel sometimes. He sees the world as black and white, and Bob is just another criminal in his eyes, which in turn sets the stage for Batman's journey that mirrors Ebenezer Scrooge's transformation in A Christmas Carol. And after Batman scares the wrath of God into Bob, he returns to the Batcave. And then that's when Alfred points out that Bruce is starting to get sick, like really sick, to the point of where he actually hallucinates Jason Todd. And when Jason Todd appears, that's when A Christmas Carol truly begins, because Jason Todd represents Jacob Marley, which if you don't know from A Christmas Carol, Jacob Marley is Ebenezer Scrooge's business partner that recently died. And when he appears to Scrooge in the middle of the night, he's the one that tells him that he's going to be visited by the three ghosts of Christmas, which means first up is the ghost of Christmas past. Who better to fill this role than Catwoman? Selina Kyle takes Batman back to the early days of his crusade, reminding him of the anger and vengeance that drove him. And through the flashbacks, we see a younger and more idealistic Bruce Wayne. And then it kind of sets in for the reader, because now we're just being reminded of the humanity that Batman has slowly lost throughout the years. And the appearance of Catwoman isn't just a walk down memory lane, it's supposed to be a wake-up call, because she challenges Batman's rigid worldview, planting the seed for his eventual transformation, as he falls into an alleyway. And when Batman slams and hits the ground, he breaks out into a coughing fit, which prompts the ghost of Christmas present to appear, and it's none other than Superman. And he heard Bruce's coughing from Metropolis, so when he rolls up, he immediately uses his X-ray vision on Bruce and discovers that he has pneumonia. And of course, that's when Superman pleads with Batman to just go home. But it's Batman, so he tells Superman that he will, but first he has to go check up on Bob and his son. And that is when things get interesting, because that's when Superman finds out that Batman is using Bob Cratchit and his son as bait for the Joker. And that's when the story takes an interesting turn, because there's this heartfelt moment where Superman and Batman have a conversation about their weight and responsibilities. Superman, who's ever the optimist, has to remind Batman that hope and compassion are just as important as justice. But it really doesn't stop there, because then Superman takes Batman to go see Commissioner Gordon, who's at home unwinding after another long day. And in that quiet moment, Batman overhears Gordon reflecting on how much darker Batman has become over the years. And to be quite honest, Gordon's disappointment is palpable as he thinks about the man that Batman used to be versus who he's becoming. And it's abundantly clear that even Batman's staunchest ally is starting to worry about the direction of his crusade. Because Superman's visit isn't just about showing Batman the consequences of his actions, it's about reminding him of the humanity that he's trying to protect. And it really is a touching moment, because at the end of everything, Superman still sees him as his best friend and wants to make sure that he's okay. And after Superman leaves Batman at the Batmobile, you're kind of left there wondering whether or not Superman was actually there at all, because the minute that Batman steps towards the Batmobile, it explodes. Enter the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Now this part is actually up for interpretation, but rather than being the Joker himself, this ghost manifests itself through a vision orchestrated by the Joker's chaos, as the fever dream that Batman experiences when he's knocked out is a Gotham City without Batman, but also it's a Gotham City where Batman went too far. So we see gangs of people that are Bat-themed fighting people that are Joker-themed, on top of people like Commissioner Gordon getting 30 years in prison without the possibility of parole for aiding and abetting a known fugitive. But that is when Batman wakes up and punches out of the grave that the Joker buried him inside of. Because if you had the chance to change, to get it right, would you fight for it? And that's when Batman learns that sometimes it takes dying to teach a fella how to live. Because even in Scrooge's case, it took a real doozy of a night to make him realize that. And as the narrator says, you could call it a near-death experience, but I call it a wake-up call. And now that Batman's journey is complete, there's still one more loose end: Bob Cratchit and his kid. Because now the Joker has come to collect. And when he busts open the door, he scares the shit out of Tiny Tim and pulls a gun on Bob. But like always, the Joker never expected Batman to show up. And when Batman kicks the gun out of Joker's hand, Bob picks it up and points it at the Joker's face, which becomes the defining moment in this story. Because early on, Batman would have just cracked Bob in the face and scared the ever-loving shit out of Tiny Tim to make sure that he never walked down the same path that his father did. But instead, he shouts from the bottom of his soul, "No, you are not a criminal. Show your son the kind of man that you are, the kind of man they could respect without fear, someone they could believe in." And above all, Batman wants Bob to show Tim what a hero is. And as Bob lowers his gun, the Joker is apprehended by the GCPD, which allows Tim and Bob to be together on Christmas and for Batman to return to the Batcave and finally get some sleep. But that's not where A Christmas Carol ends, nor Batman Noel, because the next morning, Bob and Tim hear a knock at the door while they're cleaning up broken glass, because it's time for old Scrooge to make his rounds. Because remember, the reason why Bob was so down on his luck was because his boss refused to give him any form of back pay, raise, benefits, PTO, the works. And on top of raising Tim, who's chronically sick, he had to make a deal with the Joker to make some side cash, because it turns out that when Bruce woke up, he found out what company that Bob worked for, Wayne Industries. So Bruce made sure to make good on everything, sending Bob a tree, all of his back pay, and someone to fix the window as well. Because in my opinion, Batman Noel is a reminder that even in the darkest of times, there's always a chance for redemption. This story is a story of hope, forgiveness, and the power of change. And after all, isn't that kind of what the holidays are about? And look, if you haven't read Batman Noel yet, do yourself a favor and pick this one up. It's not just a great Batman story, it's a great story period. Whether you're a diehard fan or just someone looking for a fresh take on a holiday classic, this book does deliver. And there's something about this story that always has me coming back to it on Christmas Eve. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I did. So, thanks for stopping by the bar. Stay safe, stay warm, and remember, even in the darkest of nights, there's always a little bit of light. So until next time, happy holidays. Cheers.